original owners will have to accept compensation instead of getting fully reinstated with their property. And of course, this is one of the issues that the leaders have been at loggerheads about. In recent months, we've been hearing that maybe they have some agreements, at least superficial agreement, but fundamentally there's a disagreement about the right to reinstatement. When we see here, what we're trying to do here is ask people whether they are flexible depending on the type of property. As we know, there are owners of homes, but there are also owners of vacant lands, and there are owners of businesses and so forth. So does it make a difference? So we say to Greek Cypriots here, did I skip one, by the way? No. No, right. For each of the following categories of property, which type of resolution would you be willing to consider? That such properties should remain with current users versus such properties should be returned to original owners. And as we can see, Greek Cypriots are again fairly uniform in the view that in all cases, property should go back to the original owner. Now there is an exception here. We can see that when it comes to utilities and other public services, Greek Cypriots show greater flexibility. But when it comes to vacant land, which as I understand is a contentious issue in the negotiations, we don't see this flexibility, nor in agricultural lands, nor in residential properties and homes. In all cases, Greek Cypriots are saying original owner should have at least first right of refusal. Turkish Cypriots, again, are quite complex in their views. As we can see, there's quite a degree of variation. As Alexandros was referring to before, sometimes difficult to discern a trend. But what we see here is that in all cases, Turkish Cypriots have a mixed view. Of course, if we think of the mode, the dominant view is that current users should be privileged. However, we can also see a minority of Turkish Cypriots, in all cases, who respect the rights of the original owner. Of course, this requires further exploration. Who are these people? Why do they have this view? And so on. And that is part of the subject of future research that we're conducting. Now, of course, crucially, we need to look to the future and not to the past. And the question is what you will accept and not accept, what you would do or not do. And in this case, we're asking what you would do if you got reinstated. And we see that among Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, there seems to be some similarities and some differences. The mode here would be that most people are interested, or a plurality rather, in using as a primary residence. However, we see that this is not a very strong trend line. Would you accept compensation, however, is rejected out of hand. So it's very interesting that from a position of principle, people are not interested in compensation. They want reinstatement, and they would prefer being given the right to use it as a residence. So this tends to be the mode. We can see other options here with lesser degrees of support, meaning whether I would rent it, whether I would accept compensation. This is quite crucial as well, the degree of acceptance of compensation. We have different statistics, by the way, which demonstrate that when we ask people more practical questions, they're more open actually to compensation than is shown here. Well, that's it, and we thank you very much for your patience, and we are open to any questions you may have about anything, including the poll.
We have some time for questions, and we have a microphone. If you would like to ask questions, please raise your hands, and we'll...
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you. The way the survey was undertaken and the way you present the results is, I think, the best I've seen up to now from anybody. So congratulations, first of all, for the study. Two things. I think two problems in the negotiations which people do not understand, especially on the issue of property, and I was on the working group, is that the negotiating position of the Greek Cypriot side is extremely difficult, because it appears by giving the first option to the original owner, whether Greek Cypriot or Turkish Cypriot, to be going for 100%, while in fact most people would say that the percentage will be much lower, and it's important to find out what is that percentage. On your first slide, where everyone wanted their home back, I thought, my God, this is going to make things difficult. On the second slide, which shows how many people would want to live under a Turkish Cypriot constituent state, then you come within the norm of what most of us associate. If this was known, then the negotiations on property would be very much easier than what they are now. There are two things required to make the negotiations easier. One is to give the first option, and we believe that legally, amongst other things, it has to go to the original owner, whether Greek Cypriot or Turkish Cypriot, and to give a second option to the current user. That is equally important. And then if the ratio is something like what you're showing, we should be within the bounds of being able to negotiate a solution.
I'd like to congratulate the team as well. I think it's a very unique survey. And I just wanted to ask you, what plans have you got for media dissemination? I mean, it would be really good if there was a TV show, just like what we've seen today. You know, do you think this kind of presentation would be feasible in both communities? Because as Kostas said previously, you know, misinformation plays a very big part in this, and the media has been playing that role and still does, unfortunately.
We already taped it, so.
Thank you for this comment. We aim to distribute this through our website, but we are also considering, and we are open to any kind of suggestion, because we are considering about approaching the media and asking them whether it will be possible to organize something like that.
Yes, I too would like to congratulate everyone for their research. I think it comes at a very crucial time, and I believe that results will shed light, especially with all the developments that are expected to unfold next year.
Thank you very much for showing up and spending this valuable time of your day with us today. Costa?